Alright, let's fucking see if that opens a stream on all of them. Oh, bro, that's so fucking cool. Oh, it worked. Nice. I don't think. And I think it's kind of cool too. Is I could literally just swap one title over here in Restream, and it's applicable to all three websites. So that's pretty fucking clutch. Oh yeah, I won that last raid. I think we're going back in for more nighttime kills. Yeah, I need 3 more. Then we either hunt the goons or we go to woods and snipe. No fucking spade. Oh. Alright. We've been doing a little bit more winning than I thought, so it's not too bad. Not too fucking shabby, guy. I have a difficult time giving up weapons because I want to play with them, even if it comes down to just like running to a factory or labs. Well, we killed Killa 66% of the time because out of our 3 run-ins, he killed me once, I kill him twice. Nice, I went to the right side too. Fuck. A lot of shit going on. Do not think we need all these fucking mags. Throw some of that shit off to the side. Motherfucker. Nice. Holy shit, this guy is fresh off the fucking boat. Alright, alright, alright. Nice. It's still nighttime. It fucking works, bro! Does Kappa stay with you to 1.0? Strong? It does not, bro. Well, I'm not even doing PvE. This is PvP, but... Actually, you probably knew that. But, no, it resets every wipe, dude. Last wipe I got Kappa twice. Because I was, like, prestiging and whatnot. I'll only be able to hit it once this wipe, because I'm not going to go for 4th prestige. Bro, that's so fucking cool, though. With Restream, I got it connected after I came back from my appointments. And it actually does, like, an audio cue with my chatty bot. So what I think is happening is... so more like a challenge because you don't get to play with it for that long. Oh yeah, 100%, bro. Kappa's like end game basically. It just shows that you've done all the quests required in order to get it. There are quests outside of Kappa, but those are for higher levels. So you gotta get to like level 60, level 65. Which the highest level I've ever been in one wipe was 68, dude. Fucking insane. I think I had like 2,500 raids that wipe. Something like that. Then on my baby count that wipe too, I got to like level 35. But it gets like exponentially like way more XP though, dude. I don't know about that, man. I'll probably be playing it as much as I normally play, which is whenever I don't have anything going on. I've been playing this game for 8 years pretty consistently. That's how I say. Oh, I can't even. Oh, bro. Fucking quick load-in times too, dude. Oh, you know what? We're not even gonna have to watch our demon video. I don't really know what 1.0 is really gonna do. There's just gonna be a story. You know what? Let's go kill that fucking spawn to my right. Like, there's gonna be actual like cutscenes, I think, and maybe a couple extra quests, but bro, it's gonna be the same as it's always kind of been. Hopefully I don't have to warm up. We'll see. Oh no, I think they're still gonna be wiping. We're gonna kill the fuck out of that spawn that's shooting over there. I don't even know why I'm using this gun, but we're using it though. This feels kind of scummy, but I don't give a shit. This is a really good spot, actually. Turn down the music a little bit. Maybe do a little bit of hydrating while we're looking for bad guys. I think this fucking guy went over there to go hit stashes. I went to go look at that house too. It wasn't for too long to be honest, bro. Like the house is like right up next to the lake, which is nice. It doesn't have a dock to the lake, but more importantly, I pull up to it and my car sits low, obviously because it's a car. And the front of my car fucking scrapes alongside the driveway as I'm pulling up. I'm like, all right, well, that ain't fucking good. It didn't do any like serious damage, but you know what? Fuck this. We're gonna go push. Um, yeah, so I didn't like that. The garage was transformed into like a room that has a fire pit, which is pretty cool. It's a 2017 Chevy Cruze. So I got a car and a truck. I got that little car after my deployment because my car, I had an Impala beforehand when I deployed back in 2018, and Hurricane Michael fucking destroyed it, bro, while I was deployed. But and then when I came back, I was looking for a truck, but the dealership was fucking me on price. So I was like, all right, well, I'll go somewhere else and just get a car or something like that, which I did. And I went and got my own place, and there was this 88 Ford F-150 that I would always drive by coming back from work. And it was an older gentleman. He, instead of putting it online or whatever, so there's probably like a website, kind of like Zillow, but for vehicles if I had to bet. But he literally just put a sign on front of it. So I bought that 88 Ford F-150 from the older dude for, I think it was like $3,800. He was a cool dude. When it came to, the price tag though, we just wrote down that I bought that bad boy for $1,000, so I didn't have to pay as much in taxes. Oh my lordy, where the fuck does spawn go? Oh, bro, yeah, he was a cool fucking dude. He had gotten the truck from his brother, and his brother took care of it quite well, but his brother had passed away, so this dude was probably like 65, 70, right? And he's working at this steel shop where they make like steel beams and all this other stuff. And he was just getting too old to kind of keep up with the truck, basically, so he sold it to me. It's a pretty truck too, man. So the truck is older than I am because I was born in '93. The truck's an '88, so it's 5 years older than me. So what am I, 32? So the truck's 37. Bro, that truck has like 80,000 miles on it. My fucking car has more miles on it than that truck, and my car is a 2017. Bro, where in the fuck did this guy go, dude? He might have used the transit bug. Yeah, I don't really take my truck out all that often. Oh yeah, bro. It's an old bastard. It's in good shape though, which is kind of nice. It drinks fucking fuel like crazy. They're like, Wealthy, why don't you? Oh my god, this is fucking bright. Alright, I'm gonna turn you off. They're like, Wealthy, why don't you drive your truck to work more often? I'm like, dude, it's a nice truck, but it drinks fuel like fucking crazy though, man. And the thing with some of those trucks, dude, is it has dual tanks basically, so I think it can hold up to like 26, 30 gallons, something like that. It's gas, it's gas. I got movement ahead. But yeah, it just drinks fuel like crazy compared to my car. God, I got 30 minutes in game to be able to pull a kill, dude. Oh yeah, 100%, man. Well, I gotta move out of this fucking house by the end of the month, man, so I'll be using my truck to move some shit, which will be pretty nice. I've helped some other folks move too in the past. I have 2 garages. It's in my detached garage right now. There's 6 bolts holding the bed of the truck to the frame. I hear this motherfucker, dude. I was able to get out 5 of the 6 bolts, but the 6th bolt though fucking fused together. So, dude, I spent so much time destroying that fucking bolt. I'm hearing a frickin' echo. Oh, I just had eyes on something. We're gonna kill whatever this... Oh shit, there he is. You know what? I have to W key it actually. Oh fuck. Fuck you, dude! He's got a KS. I'ma get ya.
Nuh-uh, you know your gang. Nuh-uh.
Chicken. Fuck, dude. That was a fun fight, dude. I want to say it was a KS, dude. I don't know who the fuck that other guy was, though. Oh, that had my heart thumping. Oh, interesting. I was not expecting that. Well, I mean, at least the other dude came by to join the party and all that good stuff. Not too bad. My fucking hands are like shaking, dude. That was a... I thought it was a KS, dude. I didn't think it was a AK-50 or whatever the fuck that is. Ah, at least we got a kill, though. I had to burn through a few stems, though. That fucking gun hurt. I don't even know what gun. You know what? We're gonna run this gun. Or no, we're gonna do the SR. Ooh. Goose, I appreciate the GGs, man. Were you teammates with the other dude with the AK-50? Because I had no idea you were even over there, to be honest, man. I feel like you were third party, I'm pretty certain. The other dude had a fucking AK-50, bro. He, like, shot the shit out of me, man. I thought it was a KS-23. Fucking has, like, my hand shaking, dude. That was... You know what? I did step away for a little bit earlier. Run an errand. The other dude sounded like a little kid. Or like maybe a girl, I don't even know. Ah, I feel it. Bro, is that a smaller kid or is it a girl or what? The response back was pretty funny too. I don't normally get people people voiping. We're gonna go back in. No, that's fair, that's fair. Dude, you know one term I had heard that I didn't know was a thing until I played with my nephew on Fortnite a few years back? I've never heard anyone called a squeaker. I didn't even know that was a fucking thing, to be honest. I guess it's like an insult to like little kids, or maybe girls sometimes too. You know what? We're not even gonna go with the bag. I'll have to pull it off someone else, or I think we're good right here, to be honest. This should be fine. Coming to 280 poos. We should be good.
Was placed at an intersection of two paths, many of which served to warn pilgrims of dangerous places. If a treasure hunter's quest was successful, the payoff might be anything from a ragged sack of gold coins to a treasure chest of rare gems.
I can't do 1x, man. It's just too fucking slow.
And even relics that could change the fundamental understanding of a country's history and religion. But this was just the tip of the iceberg. It said that the most serious treasure magicians, an infamous group known as the Wandering Scholars, hunted strictly for objects of immense magical power. One such object was the famous lengthy grimoire, Ars Notoria, which legend tells was discovered almost 1,000 years ago by an unnamed Englishman who received permission from the King of Sicily, Roger II, to dig up the grave of Virgil.
Oh, bro. Are you fucking serious? Take a look at this. He sounds like a girl. And the mods... What the hell, dude? Alright, interesting.
Rome's greatest poet. According to a retelling in the 1875 issue of the London Quarterly Review, quote, "This eccentric English traveler of vast literary and scientific attainments asked and obtained from King Roger of Sicily permission to possess himself of the bones of Virgil. Thinking him engaged in a wild goose chase, Roger offered no opposition, till the Englishman found in the center of the mountain the poet's sepulchre, with the body entire, and beneath the head, a book entitled Ars Notoria. He took away the volume, but the populace would not allow him to have the bones." End quote.
It'll be good. It's already at 3:22, so I think our raids... It's not going to take fucking 9-10 minutes to get into a raid, though, anymore, which would be kind of clutch, to be honest.
There were other magical treasures that were searched for, too, such as the Andwaranot, known as the ultimate treasure of the Norse sagas.
I've been looking for some people to play with, but trying to convince my friends is like impossible. Bro, strong. Did you ever hop inside the Discord, dude? You know what? I'm not even in the Discord right now. Boom. Not fake news anymore. Oh, hold on. I need to make sure the rolls... Alright, Buck was the last one in there. I mean, as I was saying earlier too, man, I play every fucking day, dude. So if you want to pop in and come kill things with me, it'd be up to you. I got to quest a little bit though, so I have to do some things, unfortunately. But I could help out with your quest too, man. Don't even matter. Don't even fucking matter.
which was a magical ring capable of producing gold. The Andwaranaut was stolen from a dwarf by the god of mischief, Loki, and in revenge, the dwarf cursed it to bring destruction to whoever possessed it. Loki wasn't about to mess around with his curse though, so he quickly gave the ring to the king of the dwarves, Hreidmar. Hreidmar's son Fafnir then murdered him for the ring, after which Fafnir was violently transformed into a dragon to guard the Andwaranaut. Of course, he would later be killed for it too. Perhaps the magical treasure hunters sought the Andwaranaut not to use it, but to destroy it. As you might have guessed, this tale inspired the Lord of the Rings.
Mr. Pickles. Oh, I see you in there, dude. Nice. This is the one channel you can't join, but I mean, joining this channel, I can slide you down. It's just more so for spiciness. Generally, everyone in the Discord, because I've had the Discord for like 6 years, 7 years, something like that. I had to destroy it and recreate it because some dude was pulling my IP address, some other nonsense a few years ago, so I deleted everyone. I think we deleted like 200 people out of this Discord too a few months back too, man. There were just so many extra people in here who just didn't frequent it, so it was just kind of pointless. But yeah, just pop in whenever, and I'll slide you down.
Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. For alchemists, their magical treasure.
Work time, baby. Let's go kill us some terries. All right. You know what? We might be able to go pull a kill over here real quick. This spawn over at Emercom, you can crouch next to this forklift and head tap. Fuck! I'm not gonna lie, I thought that first shot was gonna connect, to be honest. It's kind of scummy, but not really, though. Well, no, yeah. Oh, interesting. The man... You know what? Fuck that. I'm gonna go get some elevation on this boo. I'm trying to remember who suggested restream to me. I don't think it was Rob. There's someone over here. Kilo may be here. Or, I think is here. I think he went underneath. Fuck. Were those sniper shots at me? I don't think so. There's this... Bro, that fucking base over there, that was insane, dude. Alright. You know what, I'm not really feeling a DMR right now. We'll see how this first firefight goes. My ping's a little high right now. I don't even know. Oh, this is gonna be fun, boys! Holy fuck, what is this? Come on, come on, come on. Fuck it, we're sending it, dude. One down, baby. Still got 2 more alive. That's 1 or 2. We're gonna put in a little bit of work, alright? He's inside Mantis. Fuck, they're watching me. Yeah, they're giving call outs, dude. It's fine. We fucking push it, man. Woo! Why, hello, dead guy. It's a shame this didn't happen at nighttime. Alright, well, we got my bag that I didn't come in with. There's 2 alive. 2 others. This dude's a fucking enjoyer, dude. Let's see. I don't see a lot of folks around the ash. What the fuck is this teapot doing right there? Bro, they're all fucking using it. Nice. We still gotta go touch that first body too. I got 2 bad guys still alive. They're over by, I can't even think of what it's called. Rasmussen. Oh, you know what? They may be an avocado.
не сладкие! Ха-ха! Не сытесь! Хуелоты, блядь! Хуелоты! Конец тебе, блядь!
We're just gonna go extract. I think it's coming up on nighttime. I mean, we killed all 3 people, so it was a W. Not too bad. I don't know where that other 2 stack went. I'm assuming they went to Goshen, turned on power, and they're coming back right now, but I'm already topped off, so I don't really give a shit. It'd be funny if I stole their killer room whenever they go to extract. Hopefully those shots aren't at me. Two more kills, and then we're Gucci.
choice was the powder of projection, a more common name in those times for the Philosopher's Stone. The powder of projection was a substance believed to have the ability to transmute base metals such as lead into precious metals, particularly silver and gold. It was also thought to be the main ingredient in the elixir of life, a potion which would grant the drinker immortality. Alchemists throughout history were notoriously secretive, and since this substance was thought to be of such extreme potential, it was believed that those few alchemists who successfully created the powder of projection might have buried it in fear of the consequences of their discovery. And if you know a thing or two about alchemy, you'll agree that finding a buried vial of this substance by use of ritual magic would still be tremendously easier than creating it in a laboratory. That being said, nothing was ever easy here. Magical treasure hunting was always a difficult job. Even with the most skilled magicians and adventurers, a party's work was time-consuming and labor-intensive. Grimoire manuscripts needed to be translated, with obscure instructions that had to be followed to the dot if one valued their life. There were also a number of expensive instruments that needed to be mastered. As for their toolset and equipment, besides a shovel, a treasure hunting license, and a spellbook, a treasure magician needed a special tool, known as a divining rod. As written in 1658 by the Italian scholar John Battista Porta in his book Natural Magic, quote, "They profess themselves able to find out treasures. They use 4 rods that are double-forked, the tops whereof sticking close together crossways. They hold the lower parts of them with their hands open. Near their belly, they seem to mumble verses, and the rods fall down. And where they fall, they bid those men to dig what would find treasures." End quote. As Porta suggests, a divining rod almost always resembled a large forked twig. In fact, the most effective divining rods were supposed to be an actual twig of around a year's worth of growth, ritualistically harvested from a tree at night. To use it, the divining rod is supposed to be held at the height of one's stomach, with the magician's 2 hands each grasping one of the forked arms, leaving the single long end sticking outward. It's also very important to not hold the rod's forks too tightly. An incantation, usually an invocation of a spirit, demon, or angel, must be said as the magician walks around their location of choice. While chanting, they hold the rod loosely and steadily, and when the divining rod dips down suddenly, that's an indication to get out the shovels and start digging, because that location is where the spirit is pointing. The origins of the divining rod are actually surprisingly old, as the earliest mentions of its use are found in the records of ancient Egypt. Its use spread heavily across Europe, though, beginning with Rome, and eventually it even spawned a cousin, a closely related instrument known as a dowsing rod, which is used to find water, oil, minerals, and metal ores, as opposed to buried treasure. The divining rod, though, is more closely associated with the idea that a non-human entity is guiding the instrument. In some accounts, this entity may even be invoked to literally raise a treasure from out of the earth. But what kind of entities are we talking about here? Who are we magically treasure hunting with? Well, according to the wide array of instructional grimoires on this topic, the magician actually has options. There are a multitude of entity types a treasure magician can summon and recruit for their quest, but for today, we'll focus on the 2 that seem to have been the most popular, and those are demons and angels. While the choice between them may seem obvious, I'll tell you, it's not an easy decision. We'll begin with the most commonly summoned treasure-finding spirit, and one where the magician is really flirting with disaster. While these spirits are arguably the most reliable, they're also made of pure evil. I'm speaking, of course, of demons. Treasure hunting with demons comes in all shapes and forms. Similar to the operation of earth spirits, the demon might simply remain invisible and in the spiritual realm, guiding the divining rod in the party to where the treasure hoard is buried. It may whisper helpful advice in the ears of the members, and provide spiritual protection from dangers, especially that of treasure-guarding spirits. On the other hand, many grimoires record that these demons will physically manifest before your very eyes, usually horrible in appearance, but sometimes in a more pleasing form which the summoner must specifically request. In the case of physical manifestation, though, the demon must always be constrained to a special Solomonic summoning circle for the magician's own safety, which acts as an unbreakable prison. So, instead of guiding the party, it might reveal details of the treasure's location, or even bring the treasure right to the summoner. In no case should the demon be let out of the Solomonic circle, though, no matter what it says or suggests. There's a truly long history of employing demons in quests for buried treasure. In fact, it's such a common combination that you'll find these specific spells and rituals in almost every Goetic grimoire. Despite this, it was never an officially acceptable practice, and while treasure hunting with magic was a gray area of legal consequence, if one was found recruiting demons for the task, they were guaranteed to face the consequences. One treasure-obsessed astrologer and influential member of the early 15th century Polish court was Henry the Bohemian, and in the year 1429, Henry was in serious trouble. What horrified the Polish royal family was that this same man was present at the births of all 3 of King Władysław II's sons, and Henry had even casted their horoscopes. Now he was facing a serious and compelling accusation of years of necromancy, demon conjuration, and the equally serious crime of unlicensed treasure hunting. Apparently, Henry had been running a secret side business with certain officials of the Royal University, where he and these shrewd professors would spend weekends arranging magical treasure hunts and excavating ruins with the help of demons. Demons Henry the Bohemian had summoned himself, and was suspected to have struck deals with. Upon searching his home, the Polish authorities discovered an entire library of forbidden necromantic books, after which Henry made a full confession. He was found guilty on all charges. However, as I mentioned, he was an influential courtier, and political networks are a powerful thing. Henry the Bohemian was nearly executed, but royal support spared him his life, the rest of which he would spend wasting away in a windowless prison cell. Occult scholars suspect that Henry the Bohemian was actually the author of a grimoire written for the Polish royal family, known as the Prayer Book of King Władysław. This book is unique in the world of grimoires because it deals heavily in holy prayers for the purpose of magical treasure hunting. Instead of demons, it instructed the reader to ritually evoke angels and God for their help in the hunt, painting a completely opposite picture than what Henry was really doing in the background. While this tale from history paints a dark picture, employing a demon for this purpose may not always be as diabolical as it seems. We should note that it doesn't always require a Faustian pact to collaborate with a demon and go treasure hunting with them. However, if the ritual doesn't involve spiritually beating the demon into submission by invoking the name of God repeatedly, maybe calling upon the archangels too, then the magician really needs to take a step back and ask themselves, what exactly are they exchanging for this service? If you already watched my obsessively deep dive into demonology, you know that demons don't play nicely and are a real challenge to enslave. And if at any point you think you're getting a deal, you're actually getting tricked. The pious route is almost always the most complicated, grueling, and lengthy. Think 18 plus months with no mistakes, but compared to other methods, enslaving a treasure-hunting demon with the might of God would be the safest bet. Obviously, I can't responsibly recommend any sort of demon summoning, or probably any of the entities we'll be discussing, so this is all theoretical. I'm Mr. Mythos, and I have a reputation to uphold. But as for the pious route, I covered such a method in my recent video, the overly complex ritual to summon a guardian angel, which, despite the title, deals a lot in conquering and controlling demons, and making use of their demonic powers. The grimoire investigated was the Book of the Sacred Magic of Abrumlin the Mage. First, the magician must complete the initial 18-month ritual, which involves constant, intense prayer, absolute isolation from society, and giving up nearly every pleasure in life. This results in their guardian angel showing up, who proceeds to chastise them about all the mistakes they made in front of God, and gives them the secrets of the final phase, which the magician must write down quickly, as the angel won't repeat them. Moving on to this final phase, though, the magician must face off against the 12 kings and dukes of hell, who, if conquered, will be forced to serve the magician forever, including going treasure hunting with them. Chapter 16 of the grimoire's final section has the magic spells we're looking for. Quote, to find and take possession of all kinds of treasures, provided that they be not at all magically guarded, end quote. That single exception is rather unfortunate, because magically guarded treasures are extremely dangerous, and usually the ones most worth digging up. We'll be covering the absolute terrors of treasure guardians at the end, by the way, so if you take the pious route, you may be limited, but you'll hopefully have God on your side.
Is that, Miss Ketsu?
Yes.
Hey, Ketsu, how you doing, dude? Good morning, good morning.
You said what?
I just said, how you doing, dude?
Oh, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm like all of a sudden tired as fuck, bro. Oh, lordy. Oh, fuck, man. Oh, man. Yeah, now I'm kind of tired, dude. I don't even know. Well, I killed a fucking 3-stack on interchange, man. That was kind of fun. There was another 2-stack. I wasn't able to find them. I don't know where they went. I think they like ran away or something. What are you doing right now?
Nothing. Just chilling.
Chilling out?
Yep.
Oh, man. Well, we're going to go back to our little video, dude. Our little demons video. Treasure hunting with demons.
There are, of course, other
What?
options.
I just like when the stream's up, I usually watch like a YouTube video in between raids. Just because the raids take like 5 minutes to load in, bro. It's just so we're not staring at a loading screen for 5 minutes, which gets kind of boring. Bro, I was able to get a Restream up. Have you ever used that?
No.
It basically allows you... It allows you to stream to a couple different platforms at once. Which I was already able to do, but it interconnects everything, making it a little bit easier. Then I'm able to use my chatty bot too for Kick, Twitch, and YouTube, which is pretty fancy boy stuff.
There are black magic grimoires, such as Touch Me Not from the 18th century, whose title is literally a warning to the potential reader not to touch it. It's also notable for its incredibly vivid artwork of the horrifying demons the dark side magician will be summoning. Like most other grimoires, the author and artist of Touch Me Not is unknown. It was written in Austria in 1795 and was rediscovered in London in 1928, and that's really all we know. The grimoire contains spells and recipes for many purposes, such as creating a magic mirror that can reflect all things past, present, future, physical, ethereal, and perhaps even the hidden civilizations of Inner Earth. However, the main focus of Touch Me Not is definitely magical treasure hunting. This is a book of infernal spells that instruct the user on how to summon none other than the devil himself, although other archdemons are also an option. Then sign a blood pact with them and command these dark forces to seek treasure. Hereward Tilton, the occult scholar and editor of the 2019 translation, describes the goals and dangers of this book. Quote, with their aid, hidden treasures are wrested from guardian spirits, and the Black Magician's highest ambition, an infernal transfiguration and union with the devil, can be fulfilled. But for those dilettantes who fail to follow the procedures to the letter, or succumb to their fears at lonely, god-forsaken sites in the dead of night, the consequences are dire. End quote. I think I might revise my previous statement, because even the black magic route is a serious pain. Arguably, it might be worse than the pious but torturous 18 months of god-fearing ritual detailed in the previously mentioned Book of Abrumlin. If properly employed, the ritual magic in Touch Me Not is literally supposed to drive the magician to a mental break. So the process is as follows. First, there are a number of recipes to choose from, formulas for the concoction of deliriant, psychedelic potions designed to, in its own words, poison the imagination, which the magician must drink in large quantities. The author of Touch Me Not warns the black magician, quote, depending on one's constitution, these potions can cause varying degrees of affliction, including paralysis, insanity, and frenzy. The entire art of the secret consists in the correct proportion of the ingredients combined. End quote. Experts have looked into these recipes, and yes, these are real psychoactive brews, much like the ayahuasca of South American shamans. In fact, in the history of literature, Touch Me Not is possibly the earliest European work to specifically mention use of plants containing DMT, the psychedelic component of ayahuasca. So, you know whoever wrote this manual knew what they were doing. Every individual potion is supposed to provide contact with a specific demon. But getting steamrolled by diabolic intoxicants is just a pregame.
Oh, lordy. Let's go kill some things, dude. Let's go kill some things. Some things. Well, son of a bitch. No fucking way I killed this dude. He's outside. That's fine. We will find him regardless. Time to go find bad guys. Well, shucks. Why does that scav keep looking that way?
Нормально, мочи!
They hit no power for the boys, dude! What the fuck is that spawn doing? You always have to hit power for the boys. It's your one job. Fuck, dude. Alright. God damn it.
Here. After the effects kick in, the magician must proceed to the sigillary body painting phase, as it's called, in which they are supposed to remove their clothing and paint their entire body, head to toe, with intricate demonic sigils. Finally, the grimoire instructs the magician to flip through his pages and take in the horrible cursed images it contains, all of which are drawn in highly realistic detail, and most of which I have to censor here due to being incredibly explicit and down.
A whittle sus. Might be achievable. But we're going to report him just to be on the safe side. It didn't feel like cheating, but 16 KD's got me a little sussy-wussy.
Downright disturbing. So, while naked, tripping, and dripping with body paint, the magician is supposed to stare at these artworks until they reach a point where they are genuinely traumatized by them and fearing for their life. That's what it takes to prepare oneself, and finally the real work can begin. If they're somehow able to keep on reading, the magician is allowed to proceed with the archdemon and devil summoning rituals, which I should say are no less convoluted. But a successful Faustian bargain will recruit these powerful entities for the hunt. Here, the grimoire contains a depiction of what the end result should look like. Remember, magical treasure hunting should never be done alone, so here we have one ruffian performing some necromantic magic beneath a dead fellow, and below them is the excavator, in the nude, digging away for buried treasure. To the left, we see the main magician smiling because this whole thing actually worked. And of course, the devil is also right there with them. Alternatively, another page depicts what happens if the black magician makes a mistake. Those screaming faces are surely warranted. Thankfully, the grimoire doesn't show the gruesome aftermath. And if you're wondering about the artworks I've been showing, yes, these are the originals, scanned from the 1795 manuscript, drawn using a quill with ink and painted with watercolor. If nothing else, Touch Me Not is truly an impressive work of art, if only it weren't pure evil. Regardless of our approach, whether pious or diabolic, I can say that after doing all this research, it still seems far more reliable to successfully locate buried treasure with a demon than it is with an angel. To be fair, some of you might think that any angel willing to talk to a treasure hunter, let alone help them on their quest, might very well be classified as a fallen angel or demon, and I've gotten a lot of comments to that tune in previous videos. For this investigation though, we'll simply go by their explicit descriptions. These men claimed they were working with angels, and perhaps they were. Additionally, you'll recognize pretty strong differences in terms of how angels collaborate with treasure hunters. They're a lot less cooperative compared to demons, and not very reliable. Because, unlike demons, angels don't work for mortals, they work for God. So, unless your treasure hunt is righteous or holy, you'll be hard-pressed to get results. Still, many have tried, and some with apparent success. One such instance even led to the founding of a new religion. But before we get to that one, let's take a look at some of the frustrations experienced by one of my favorite duos in history, the 16th century mathematician Dr. John Dee and his shadowy accomplice, the alchemist Edward Kelly. I already made an entire documentary on these two men and their adventures scrying and summoning angels for convoluted conversations in their ill-fated quest to uncover the secrets of Enochian, the mysterious and long-lost angelic language. But I never once touched on the fact that John Dee was also a well-known magical treasure hunter. Records show that he had a strong interest in buried treasure as far back as 1570, and as a close advisor to Queen Elizabeth I, he employed lawful and pious magic mainly to dig up lost manuscripts for the glory of what he called the British Empire, a term which he actually coined. Though John Dee was a trained occultist and magician, he preferred to employ a talented spirit medium, also known as a scryer, to peer into his trusty obsidian mirror, through which the scryer would see images and converse with spirits, much like a modern psychic in a crystal ball. Dee had used several scryers throughout his career, but one would change his fate forever. This was Edward Kelly, a rather shady figure and pretty much the opposite of the devout, educated, and gentlemanly John Dee. Edward Kelly had cropped ears, which signified he was a former criminal convicted of fraud. However, he was also an extremely smart and capable man who managed to impress Dee with his skills in alchemy and displayed a remarkable talent as a scryer, the likes of which Dee had never seen before. Both Dee and Kelly were complicated characters who left many mysteries which are still up for debate, but what's known is that the pair would spend nearly 7 intimate years together staring into Dee's obsidian mirror, through which they claimed to hold extensive conversations with powerful archangels who transmitted to them the Enochian language. As I mentioned though, John Dee was also a magical treasure hunter, and on several occasions, the pair undertook quests for buried treasures with the assistance of these very angels. Many of these journals are now unfortunately lost, as they were accidentally used as fireplace kindling by an illiterate maid, so there may be room for debate on this next point. But as far as the surviving records go, not a single one of these quests was successful, and that all seemed to be thanks to rather unhelpful angels. For example, in 1584, John Dee and Edward Kelly had been on a part-time hunt for a rumored lost treasure buried somewhere in Bohemia, when Dee's alchemist friend, Olbrock Twaski, contacted him, informing Dee that he was in serious financial peril. At this time, Dee himself was in debt to multiple people, but Waski had been struggling financially for years now, and this time, the consequences seemed dire. So Dee and Kelly frantically asked the angels to reveal the location of the Bohemian treasure for Waski's sake. The result, though, was a complete non-answer. The angels ended the conversation right there. Waski would spend the next several years smuggling himself from country to country to avoid royal debt collectors. Sadly, even his own guardian angel Ubenladek, who he conversed with in scrying sessions with Dee and Kelly, didn't seem to care enough to help him. Another instance of angelic apathy would frustrate John Dee personally. In a scrying session in April 1583, the angel Ill instructed Dee to travel to the English village of Blockley, where apparently a great buried treasure lay hidden. The angel also promised him that he wouldn't have to dig it up himself, as they would employ ethereal spirits to do it for him, so long as he obtained a sample of dirt from the land where the treasure lay. The angel Ill said to him, quote, "If thou hast a parcel or part of every place of the earth, in any small quantity, thou mayest work by the creatures whose power it is to work in such causes." End quote. He had to obtain this parcel of earth quickly, though. The angel warned Dee to hurry, as a local man also knew the location, perhaps through magic of his own, and this man was gathering a magical treasure hunting party as they spoke. However, John Dee was a remarkably lawful man, and at that time, he didn't possess a valid license to unearth buried treasure. So Dee traveled to London to apply for his license and sent Edward Kelly to Blockley to obtain the parcel of Earth. When Dee and Kelly finally reunited a couple weeks later, treasure hunting license and dirt sample in hand,
That's insane. You need a license to be able to dig up treasure. Well, son of a bitch. That would have been nice if that spawn was there. It's got to be one at the chain link, probably running under the garage right now. We'll go look for some motors. Interesting. We're gonna push out back. I think these spawns never came in. They gotta be in Rat Hallway, is what I'm thinking. That's Center Mall. We're gonna have to go push in there here shortly. Pretty certain one of those doors are static open.
Эй, земляк! Мы так наблюдаем!
That could be basement. Oh, that may be basement, to be honest. I don't know. I don't know. We'll head over towards Killer's Ramp under Ollie. Shots ahead. There's movement inside Mantis. Fucking scab. Bro.
Вали, вали, хуесоса!
Two stack.
Граната тут! Дерьмо, сука, падла! Иди сюда, мерзавец!
I need them to push. Fuck you!
What the? Yeah.
There's one up top, one below. Fuck.
Kelly asked the angel what to do with the dirt. The angel ill responded with an ambiguous answer, which ultimately was as of much value as the dirt itself. As far as the records go, the two men never found the treasure. Angels aren't the most reliable or friendly bunch, at least in the depressing treasure hunts of John Dee and Edward Kelly, but it would be a shame to overlook an instance of the complete opposite, not in Renaissance Europe, but in 19th century North America. And though the next story and the religion it spawned may be controversial to many, let's take a few moments to investigate the man who you might have never considered to be the most famous and arguably the most successful treasure hunter in history, Joseph Smith, the founder of Mormonism. It's totally unknown to most, but for many years, Joseph Smith was a treasure hunter who indeed practiced the magical traditions of those before him. In fact, he was simply following in his own father's footsteps, who was a treasure seeker himself. His father, Joseph Smith Sr., had struggled with several short, unsuccessful jobs as a teacher, shopkeeper, and farmer, until one day he discovered an interest and talent for locating buried treasure, and this quickly became his profession while living and raising his family in Palmyra, New York. As we know, this work is usually performed in groups, so likewise, Smith Sr.'s sons joined him in a multitude of hunts and excavations throughout the 1820s. According to the book, The Refiner's Fire, The Making of Mormon Cosmology, Smith Sr., in a conversation with his neighbor, described one of the treasure tricks he used. Quote, "The best time for digging money was in the heat of the summer, when the heat of the sun caused the chests of money to rise to the top of the ground." End quote. Though that may seem simple enough, it's likely that there was far more ritual magic involved than he let on. We can deduce this by considering the early treasure hunting methods of his son Joseph Smith Jr., the future prophet of Mormonism. Smith Jr. was an active treasure hunter for nearly 10 years. As for his technique, he practiced the magical rites and superstitions brought by the settlers of the New World. Among other things, these included the use of magical circles drawn around the dig site to protect against the treasure's guardian spirits, and the use of silver tools, such as a silver spade or spoon, used to dig up a small patch of the earth before diving in with a full shovel, and this was to ensure luck in the excavation. Finally, Smith also followed the New World tradition of blood offerings. The purpose of a blood offering was to pacify the treasure guardian spirit, following the belief that the guardian was actually the ghost of a person murdered at this spot and intentionally buried with the treasure to protect it, with their blood long ago soaked into the ground. According to the historian Alan Taylor, in his scholarly article The Early Republic's Supernatural Economy, quote, "Smith sacrificed pure white or jet black sheep or dogs to lay out magic circles of blood." End quote. While this may seem grim and gruesome in modern day, Joseph Smith's use of blood offerings and other ritual magic wasn't unusual at all. These were all commonplace practices for New World treasure hunters. For example, the same article describes the American politician Thurlow Weed using a black cat for the same purpose, sadly. As for Smith's preferred tool for locating buried treasure, he did sometimes employ a divining rod, but his main instrument of choice was a peepstone, which is a stone with a hole hollowed through the center, which he would peer through in order to see things otherwise invisible to the naked eye. Joseph Smith had actually been fond of this particular tool since he was a schoolboy, foretelling future events and finding lost objects for his friends, who gave him the catchy nickname Peepstone Joe. An altered rendition of this peepstone tool would later be used by Smith to translate the Book of Mormon from the Golden Plates, a holy prophetic treasure that an angel helped him locate. Smith would later identify these particular peepstones with the Urim and Thummim, a magical technology spoken of in the Bible's Old Testament, and another weird mystery which I investigated previously. Returning to the angels, though, what was particularly unusual in his practice was the involvement of the divine messenger of God. It all began in 1823, and the following is an account of what Joseph Smith experienced that year. To set the scene, it was a clear moonlit September night outside of Smith's home in the forested western New York. The young man was outside alone, and the angel appeared to him suddenly in a white radiating brilliance. In Joseph Smith's own words, quote, "While I was thus in the act of calling upon God, I discovered a light appearing in the room, when immediately a personage appeared at my bedside, standing in the air, for his feet did not touch the floor. He had on a loose robe of the most exquisite whiteness. His hands were naked and his arms also. So were his feet naked, as were his legs. His head and neck were also bare. I could discover that he had no other clothing on but this robe. Not only was his robe exceedingly white, but his whole person was glorious beyond description, and his countenance truly like lightning. When I first looked upon him, I was afraid, but the fear soon left me. He called me by name, and said unto me that he was a messenger sent from the presence of God to me, and that his name was Nephi, that God had a work for me to do. He said there was a book deposited, written upon gold plates, giving an account of the former inhabitants of this continent, and the source from whence they sprang. He also said that the fullness of the everlasting gospel was contained in it, as delivered by the Savior to the ancient inhabitants. Also that there were 2 stones in silver bows, and these stones fastened to a breastplate constituted what is called the Urim and Thummim, deposited with the plates, and the possession and use of these stones was what constituted seers in ancient and former times, and that God had prepared them for the purpose of translating the book." End quote. After delivering this message, the angel then revealed the location. The golden plates were buried under a hill near his home in Manchester. The young seeker grabbed a shovel, and unlike the European magical treasure hunters who traveled in a party, Smith ventured on completely alone. Well, except for the divine entity next to him. When they arrived at the hill, the angel pointed to the location, and he dug into the ground. Eventually, his shovel clanked against a solid object. On his knees, Smith cleared the dirt and revealed an ancient stone box. However, the angel prevented him from removing the treasure inside, the golden plates. The angel then informed him that he had to wait 1 year and return to the spot exactly on the date, and only then could he take the plates. So, as instructed, exactly 1 year later, Smith returned, but was unable to take the plates. 1 year after, Smith tried again, but was still unable to take them. Yet another year passed and Smith made another attempt, but the plates were simply untakeable. However, with faith unshakable, he traveled to that hill one more time, right on time, and this time, the angel let him take the plates. Smith then used the Urim and Thummim peepstones to translate the golden plates, which were written in a script that the Book of Mormon refers to as the Reformed Egyptian language, thought by Mormons to date as far back as the 6th century BC. And the golden plates themselves were believed to be the origin of the Mormon sacred doctrine, the Book of Mormon, which contains, among other things, the forgotten history of the Nephites, an ancient Israelite people who migrated and settled in the Americas in 589 BC, according to the church. Today, Mormonism, the Latter-day Saint movement started by Smith and this treasure, has over 16 million followers and 282 temples across the world as of 2022. So from what we've seen, the rewards of magical treasure hunting can truly be vast, and Joseph Smith's experience shows that angels perhaps can be powerful treasure finders, given the right individual and cause. But let's rewind time and travel all the way back to Renaissance Europe, where this profession was truly in its quintessential form, and where demons and angels were both recognized as capable collaborators. Decisions had to be made based on pros and cons, and in the end, the consequences were one's own. Assuming the magician has a full party and a holy or unholy entity on their side, the only thing left to do is to venture into the ancient ruins of the past and determine where the treasure might lay. The magician holds the divining rod with both hands, chanting as he walks, though the spirit is clearly guiding his movement. The rod drops down suddenly. X marks the spot. The rest of their party grab their shovels excitedly, but the magician turns around and puts his finger to his lips. As a treasure hunting professional, this expert knows that many grimoires warn that the digging must only be done in the strictest of silence. As written in Volume 2 of the Characteristics of Goethe, 1833, quote, "A very deep meaning lies in that notion, that a man in search of buried treasure must work in utter silence, must not speak a word, whatever appearance, either terrific or delightful, may present itself." End quote. Striking treasure would, of course, be the delight, but there are certain terrors that a hunting party must be aware of, because in these empty ruins, they aren't alone. No matter what culture or era, it's a near universal thought that certain sites of great treasure hoards or magical relics will always be protected by powerful demons or malevolent guardian spirits, awakened by treasure hunters who can be sure of the consequences if they aren't properly pacified. The entities know what you've come to take, and they're bound to their duty to protect it. The Key of Solomon states, quote, "It often happeneth that those men who undertake a search for said treasures are tormented and sometimes put to death by the aforesaid spirits." End quote. The guardian entities aren't gentle with bringing death to treasure seekers, though. Rather, they are ruthlessly violent. The legends have been told...
Oh, it's fucking work time, baby. If I can get these last 2 kills, man, I've just been killed both other times. Oh, fuck. I don't even know if I came with nods. I did not. Huh? It's fine. Fuck you, Scav. Bro, these bots on Kick are fucking insane, man. Literally, no point even banning them. It's just they come back, or there's so many of them. Fuck, it's inside here. You know what? It's probably a dick. No. It's made. Let's fucking kill it, dude. PMC right here. Oh, he was a little guy. We'll toss his shit for him. Need one more. Killa is 100% down over an idea. That might be a PMC. He's to my left.
Служивый, это наша точка! Вон он, блядь! место, что ли, уходишь? Это... Да вон он!
Fuck it, we're going upstairs.
Вон оно, хуйло! Вот!
Bro, where in the fuck are these shots coming from, dude? Oh my god, alright.
Идет! Тебя и...
Yo. It's not even rendering it. Well, finally done with nighttime, so that's nice. This dude was hidden the fuck in there. It didn't make any sense with all those dead scav bodies up there, and just for me not to be able to find the PMC. What time is it? 5 o'clock? Dude had a pretty nice gun. Or a really nice gun. Alright, I'm gonna clean up my stash. And you guys are gonna watch the little VOD. Oh, nice. Another level 50 plus. Fucking you sick, though. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. Oh, we finished up a whole bunch of stuff. We'll find out what bolt action I'm going to be using. Oh no, why didn't this sell? I'll probably just use these as secondaries, to be honest. Yeah. Yep, we are going to clean up a little bit.
Far more gruesome than the Yenna Christmas Eve tragedy. There are accounts of group insanity, ending in heads removed by each other's shovels. And if the guardian spirits decide to do the deed personally, you can expect the result to be exponentially more horrible. Though many guardian entities are rumored to be demons or ghosts, in Europe, most were thought to be elemental spirits and familiars associated with treasure. These ancient primordial entities would often assume certain physical forms. In older folklore, these were usually that of birds, snakes, and oxen, but many legends and reports also describe beasts such as massive black dogs, aka hellhounds, the ghosts of giants known as spriggans, and of course the famous fire-breathing dragon. Additionally, they may appear in forms meant to mirror your own worst nightmare, reading your soul and knowing exactly what you fear most. If the site is rumored to be especially dangerous, or if the party feels a creeping heaviness around them, any magician worth their title must immediately employ an incantation of protection and the pacification of evil. Admittedly, there are many dangers to treasure hunting. One may be executed without a valid license. Loose stones on the floor can send a party falling to their death. Crumbling ceilings can crush them. All are better fates than to suffer the guardian of the treasure. They are the reason why magical treasure hunting is so treacherous. On a more optimistic note, though, magical treasure hunters actually have their own designated patron saint. In Catholicism and other Christian traditions, a patron saint is a heavenly protector. Once a historical figure important to the church and the people, and now deceased, their Holy Spirit is bound to protect a person, group, society, or place. In the case of magical treasure hunters, their patron saint is Saint Christopher, the giant warrior who is sometimes depicted as having the head of a dog. While scholars and theologians have never identified an obvious connection as to why Saint Christopher is the patron saint of treasure hunters, considering he's usually depicted as a warrior of enormous size, it makes sense that magical treasure hunters would want the strongest holy guardian they could get. Before a party dug their shovels into the ground, an incantation known as a Christopher Prayer would be said. And it was intense. A German Christopher Prayer manuscript confiscated in 1741 was 43 pages long, its verses literally begging, pleading, and demanding St. Christopher for his protection. It would be foolish, though, to rely on St. Christopher alone. The party's expert magician should be equipped with spells to use on the fly, whatever the situation calls for, and whatever it takes to pacify the demon or malevolent spirit. By this point, they should have already taken several preliminary measures, too. Each member of the party may want to wear a talisman inscribed with the fifth pentacle of Saturn, as depicted in the grimoire The Greater Key of Solomon, which is specifically described to chase away spirits which guard treasures. A standard exorcism of the location may be another wise precaution to take, and in the case that the buried treasure was revealed with ease, and no dangers yet presented themselves, it would be smart to perform an exorcism on the treasure itself, because sometimes the guardian has been bound to the golden hoard, just waiting for greedy fingers to touch it, and a greedy body it will swiftly possess or curse to death. But thankfully, if you employed an ethereal entity in your hunt, they might be able to fight for you, depending on the pact you made and whether they were willing to. It's said that a battle between ethereal beings is fought in the ether, so the fight unfortunately can't be seen by the naked eye, but instead occurs as a sort of interdimensional blur. A good way to visualize this might be the Middle Eastern folk belief that a sandstorm is a battle between jinn, the pre-Islamic demons of the Arabic world. More than visual, of course, you'll feel its intense power. The danger now is whether your ethereal entity will win. If, finally, you, the magician, find yourself face to face with a guardian spirit capable of passing all the previously mentioned efforts, there may still be hope. In mythology, there are countless tales of the hero defeating the treasure guardian by cunning and clever trickery, but I prefer the folklore, as it's a bit more straightforward. Remember that if a treasure guardian has been bound to a treasure, there are always conditions to override its magical contract. Otherwise, what would be the point of burying treasure if it can't ever be retrieved? Therefore, every treasure guardian should have a secret to pacify it. Grimoires and magic are powerful stuff, but treasure hunters should always do their homework and have an idea of what it takes to break the curse. This is shown in an old Swedish folktale that had been passed through the centuries. Quote, an extremely wealthy farmer put his money in a copper kettle and buried it beneath the floor of his barn. The burial ceremony was such that no one could take up the goods until 3 brothers had been beheaded on the spot, and flame and fire and plow and harrow had gone over the ashes. But the farmhand lay nearby, listening. And when the farmer had died, the farmhand went there and slaughtered 3 male pigs from the same litter. Then he made a fire and plowed and harrowed in the ashes. In this way, he was able to retrieve the entire treasure, and the dragon could do nothing about it. End quote. And such was the end to many magical treasure hunts whose legends spread across Europe, a history which dates back possibly 2,000 years. I don't mean to tease, but I collected way more magical treasure stories that have nothing to do with the Christianized demons and angels we focused on here, but instead other entities from folklore who can also join a party, like fairies, jinn, and even dragons. So if I make a part 2, let me know which one you want me to investigate most down in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed this video and haven't seen my last one, the overly complex ritual to summon a guardian angel, that's the one to watch for more info on the grueling trials one must pass to access this kind of occult magic. This investigation is sponsored by Fabulous. Ancient chronicles tell that during the reign of Lucius Tarquinius Superbus in the 6th century BC, a wrinkled, hunchbacked woman demanded an audience with a Roman king. Despite her age and the obvious notion that she was not from Rome, it was said that her demeanor was so commanding that she was allowed the royal audience. In front of King Tarquin, the old woman drew 9 books from her cloak and offered them to him at a hefty price. Thinking her insane, the king burst into laughter. The old woman then cast 6 of the books into a brazier, and they were consumed by its crackling fire. She turned to him and said, quote, "O king,
is it? For how much?
King, wilt thou then buy these 3 books at the price of 9? End quote. Shocked, King Tarquin immediately consulted with his priests, then purchased the 3 remaining books. The mysterious woman handed them over without a further word, exited the palace, and was never seen again. These ancient texts, sold to King Tarquin, historically known as the Sibylline Books, are some of the oldest and most important grimoires to have ever existed. They contain prophetic counsels and magical lore concerning the future of Rome. For nearly 1,000 years, the Sibylline books would be continually consulted by Rome's rulers, especially during difficult and chaotic times. The use of its spells was complex and varied, ranging from healing and preventing natural disasters such as earthquakes, to more dark and sinister ends such as curses and human sacrifices. So in many ways, they could be considered either white magic or black magic, depending on whether its user took the right or left-hand path. And in today's investigation, we'll explore what this esoteric concept truly means.
Knack, I think you're right, dude. No, it's only delayed by like a couple seconds, to be honest. It's nothing too serious. Interesting. Your chats are coming through and whatnot. Oh, you know what? Yeah, let's try that. Let's see. Oh, strong. Yeah, let's see, dude. Ooh. Oh, bro, it might be on Kick's servers, dude. What the fuck? And it has me logged out for some reason, dude. It might be on Kick's side, to be honest, man. My app is working, though. Interesting. Oh, yeah, that's weird, bro. Well, what about Kick and or Twitch and YouTube though? How are these working out? Yeah, that's weird, bro. That one's fine. So is this. Yeah. There's not much I can do about that side, to be honest, man. The stream's still going on Kick too, though. So yeah, that's a. Oh, dude. Steeler, I see it says subscribe to Prime, man. I appreciate that, dude. Oh, you know what? We got to get connected. I think it only works on Twitch, bro. It doesn't show like follows and stuff like that on. Oh fuck, I don't even know how to set that up on YouTube, to be honest. I'll dig into it though. I just basically need to get YouTube and Kick up to the same standard that Twitch is. But you gotta remember, I was streaming on Twitch for like 3 years or 4 years or whatever, or 2 years. But granted, Twitch is probably the best for streaming though, at least for the time being.
Hey, fellow seekers, welcome. I'm Mr. Mythos. If you're a fan
Let me get situated. We're gonna go do some sniping on woods, and then go from there.
of strange and ancient mysteries with research so deep, you're guaranteed to fall down the rabbit hole, and you're in the right place. I humbly ask you, give this video a like and ding the notifications bell so you don't miss any of the rare info we'll be digging into every video. And if you love it, maybe send some of that white magic my way, or just good vibes. But before we dive in, when talking about the power of grimoires last episode, I said, quote, thankfully, King Tarquin, the ruler believed to have purchased these Sibylline books, was Rome's final king, after which Rome became an empire. As his priests and wise men examined the prophetic text spared from the fire, some speculated that the identity of the old woman was the Sibyl of Cumae, a Greek prophetess who, later medieval studies argued, allegedly predicted the birth of Christ. And perhaps this identification makes sense, Greece's most capable oracle and visionary, writing a series of texts which, in many ways, determined the fate of Roman society. Historians have identified clear records of the rulers consulting the Sibylline books since the beginning of the 4th century BC, all the way up to the 5th century AD. And history buffs might recognize this very time period as nearly the entire lifespan of the Roman Empire. Just a few decades before the empire's end, the powerful commander Flavius Stilicho ordered them destroyed, and today, not a single line of their text has survived. These historical records, however, revealed something interesting. The magic of the Sibylline books was used for vastly different purposes, determined by who was using them and their intent. Whether the magic was for the good of many, or only the few. White magic versus black magic. One account of the Sibylline's white magic use comes from the Roman historian Livy, who wrote that the books were summoned to resolve a plague which had devastated Rome's countryside. The emperor's priest consulted the books and returned with a strange answer that confused even themselves. His prophecies advised that Asclepius, the Greek god of medicine, be brought from the city of Epidaurus to Rome. Eventually, they realized this must refer to the statue of Asclepius in Epidaurus, so they lifted it onto a ship and set off for Rome. But with them, a single serpent had snuck on board, hiding between the statue's gaps. When it was found, this serpent was acknowledged to be the Greek god's manifested spirit. The plague itself would dissipate in the weeks after. Other accounts, especially in the period of the late Roman Republic, focused on the Sibylline books' use for darker purposes. They were magically consulted, and under their interpreted advice, 3 separate events occurred where 2 Gauls and 2 Greeks, both female and male couples, were kidnapped and buried alive in a stone chamber beneath the Forum Boarium in Rome. Their slow deaths were supposedly a Sibylline sacrificial ritual to please the gods. These events are notable because Romans rarely, if ever, practiced human sacrifice. Not only was it abnormal in their society, but their greatest writers expressed disgust at the idea, arguing that human sacrifice was from an uncivilized past, and Roman rulers even used it as justification for conquering peoples who practiced it. So these rituals were a great source of confusion for all. Livy himself asserted that the Gaul and Greek sacrifices were, quote, wholly alien to the Roman spirit, end quote. Though people were asking questions, the priests responsible kept their interpretations to themselves, and with the Sibylline books lost today, the mystery is only more
We're gonna have to
convoluted.
restart Tarky,
The
dude.
first
She's
instance of the
acting up.
sacrificial ritual was recorded within Plutarch's Questiones Romani. It was spurred by a freak accident, when a young maiden riding a horse was struck by lightning. This was seen by the soothsayers as an ominous sign for the Vestal Virgins. The Vestal Virgins were the 6 most important priestesses of Rome, as keepers of the sacred eternal flame that represented the empire's life. After this omen foretold their demise, a barbarian slave emerged with evidence that 3 of the Vestal Virgins were no longer chaste and had actually been sleeping with men for months. This was a massive scandal at the time. The 3 priestesses were convicted and punished, but this also led to the priests consulting the Sibylline books, and eventually his prescription that 2 Gauls and 2 Greeks be buried alive as an offering to the gods, or perhaps to a wholly foreign set of darker spirits, as some speculated. Either way, many today suspect that this was a black magic use of the Sibylline books. Ancient prophecies, sacrificial rituals, and volumes upon volumes of spells and invocations ran through the political and cultural lifeblood of many great civilizations. From the archaic roots of Chinese divination to the Jewish mystical tradition of Kabbalah, the instruction and use of magic was not restricted to special ceremonial occasions, but was widely applied in everyday life. And this occult knowledge would often be stored in grimoires, not unlike the Sibylline books. A grimoire is a book of magic, but as the religious historian Richard D. Keffer reminds us, quote, "A book of magic is also a magical book," end quote. Just as there are countless powerful grimoires, there are many types of magic, such as spells, charms, talismans, invocation, exorcism, and spiritual communication. We also know that some are considered white magic and others black magic. In popular culture, these terms usually equate to good and evil. While those more familiar understand this is a crude and stereotypical assumption, it can sometimes be true. For example, the exorcism of a possessed person is almost always white magic. Same for spells to protect against evil, white magic. Likewise, some grimoires are pure evil, such as Touch Me Not, which we looked at recently in my video Treasure Hunting with Demons. Selling your soul to the devil is definitely black magic. Cursing death against others, also black magic, right? So now we're getting into murkier waters. What about summoning a demon from hell? Is that always black magic? Well, the Catholic Pope Honorius III might beg to disagree. And what about foreseeing one's destiny and learning how to change it? What makes magic white or black? This dilemma has been reasoned in various ways throughout history and across different cultures. It still remains blurry and debatable, the main reason being that the nature of the magic being used may imply more about the intention of its user rather than the spell itself. Intention is everything. Magic is always approached with an intention, a reason to perform it. In Western occultism, there's a popular concept known as left-hand path and right-hand path, which are two opposing approaches to magic. The terms and concepts of this division actually date all the way back to the ancient Vedic religion of India, some 4,000 years ago, with the Vamachara, the left-handed practice seen as socially taboo and extreme, and the Dakshinachara, the right-handed practice, seen as pure and aligned with the Vedic teachings. Though similar, this idea's later evolution in the Western world was a bit more specific. For the most part, left-hand path implies the dark arts, magic used for evil and nefarious purposes, but can also imply a strictly selfish use of magic, acting only for one's own benefit, bowing to themselves over God. Conversely, right-hand path implies benevolent magic used to help others, perform acts of good in the world, and ascend one's soul to divinity, serving God and aligning oneself right beside him, hence right-hand path. Note that these definitions have never been strict, and when the ideas of left and right-hand paths are loosened and removed from religious connotations, it really comes down to whether the magician's intention is selfish or not. In this way, all magicians are said to reside in one of these two opposing divisions, depending on their intention towards the magic, and what they're using it for. As for the specific notion of black and white magic, these ideas derive from the 13th century, when Europe experienced something akin to a magical renaissance, and interest in this practice rose sharply. Many mystics and scholars of that time began to move beyond the idea that humans were limited to requesting help from the ethereal, spiritual, and supernatural worlds and hoping they deliver. These thinkers took it one step further, realizing that these dimensions could potentially be dominated, and their powers commanded. The magic would then be one's own, opening up far more options of how it could be used. Moreover, if the magician achieved mastery of the art, the potential could be truly enormous, or even dangerous. If magic could be manipulated freely, the magician's intentions now needed to be accounted for. So, during this period and through the Renaissance, what fell under white magic were spells and divine rituals that brought one's soul closer to God and worked to the benefit of Christianity. Black magic was defined as the use of foreign entities or spirits to affect the material world. The intention of black magic was solely for the individual practitioner and their personal advancement, and thus fell outside of the bounds of Christian doctrine. Although this distinction sounds pretty clear-cut, the specific definitions of black and white magic depended entirely on the beliefs of the church leaders at the time, and how they interpreted their religious scriptures. Black magic was anything that fell outside of the accepted Christian doctrine, which we know varied widely over the centuries. Earlier, we considered whether demon summoning was black magic. Today, most church leaders would agree that a magician performing such an act couldn't possibly have good or pure intentions. But this may have not been the viewpoint of Pope Honorius III in the 13th century, who was believed to have instructed his most trusted priests to conjure demons and control them, and harness their demonic powers as part of a holy sacred mission for God. Honorius III is even credited as the author of his own demonological grimoire, the Grimoire of Pope Honorius. He's also the suspected author of another medieval grimoire, and one of the oldest still in existence, the Sworn Book of Honorius. Both contain deep studies on Catholic demonology, and both provide detailed instructions on how to summon demons and fallen angels for divine purposes. And for those just as passionate as a man himself, he even provides a full calendar plan to invoke a new demonic entity every day of the week. So, at first glance, the Sworn Book of Honorius reads like a standard Goetic grimoire, the ones usually used for the left-hand path. Admittedly, many of its rituals are pretty grim and gothic. For example, one of its conjuration spells requires a magician to go alone to an empty church at midnight and kindle a fire made from the wood of a crucifix and use its ashes to trace a magic circle on the ground. While drawing this circle, the magician must chant certain words of power mixed with verses from the biblical book of Psalms and proceed to summon 7 black angels, fallen angels of death. The magician then uses a standard evocation of the name of God and the archangels to enslave them. Remember, summoning beings of terrible evil isn't supposed to be pretty, so despite how it all sounds, this is all apparently for a good purpose. Its magic also relies almost entirely on heavenly and angelic powers. But despite all this, near the beginning, the author Honorius suggests requiring an oath from anyone who wishes to read the grimoire, that they must swear that they are godly and faithful, and to test them on this oath for at least a year before giving them the book. So one thing's for sure, Honorius knows this magic can be twisted and misused. As for himself, though, in multiple instances, Honorius makes it clear that he acts only in the name of God, and even employs obscure numerology with heavenly connections, such as stating himself as a part of a council of 811 magicians, which is the numerical value of the sacred name of God in Greek. And by the way, the author of the Sworn Book may or may not be Pope Honorius III. No one really knows for sure, but the name, timeline, and lore do seem to match up. While the Sworn Book hails from the 13th century, demon summoning with a pious twist wasn't a new concept. Almost a year ago in my demonology video, I touched a bit on the grimoire The Testament of Solomon, which scholars agree originates from 1st century Judaism. In the text, King Solomon, the historical and biblical monarch of Israel, was called to assist a child who had fallen to a mysterious illness. Solomon quickly uncovered that the vampiric demon Orneus was responsible for the child's diminishing health.
Oh god, I'll be back in a second. I gotta
Prayed
take
for
a
God's
piss.
help, and the Archangel Michael arrived soon after, with a ring bearing the seal of God, a pentagram. This
I might have to turn on
gave
the
its wearer
AC,
the power
dude.
to
It's
control demons.
fucking hot in this
So,
room.
equipped
Maybe
with
that's
this new
what's
ability,
making me tired a
Solomon
little
ripped
bit.
Orneus from the child and trapped the evil spirit for interrogation. After much questioning, Orneus revealed his demonic functions and named the Archangel Uriel as the holy entity who could defeat him. Solomon then summoned Uriel, who granted him full authority over Orneus. Solomon definitely saw the potential here, and proceeded to use the ring to capture the demon Beelzebub, and force Beelzebub to conjure a list of impure spirits. And once these demons' functions were discovered, and the respective angels granted Solomon authority over them, Solomon decided to put these demons to a more practical use. Specifically, he had them build a holy temple. Quote, "And I commanded the spirits to fetch water in the temple of God. And I furthermore prayed to the Lord God to cause the demons without, that hamper humanity, to be bound and made to approach the temple of God. Some of these demons I condemned to do the heavy work of the construction of the temple of God. Others I shut up in prisons. Others I ordered to wrestle with fire in the making of gold and silver, sitting down by lead and spoon, and to make ready places for the other demons in which they should be confined." End quote. The demon enslaving lore of King Solomon isn't only confined to the Testament grimoire, but other Jewish and Christian apocrypha too, and it's even part of canonical scripture in Islam. The Quran's version states that Solomon enslaved an army of jinn, the demons of the Arabic world, to build monuments and work in his copper mine. There's a good chance this well-known lore inspired Pope Honorius III too, if he really did piously summon demons, as many argue. It definitely inspired the Carmelites, though. Back in the 1400s, a group of Roman Catholic clerics known as the Carmelites summoned demons to interrogate them just as King Solomon did, seeking answers as to the inner workings of the demonic realm. This didn't turn out so well, though, because the Carmelites ended up corrupt and were caught asking the demons to win them sexual favors from women and join them on quests to find buried treasure. Aside from the treasure seeking, the fate of the Carmelites was remarkably similar to that of King Solomon, as described in the Testament grimoire. In the text, the wise king himself fell victim to these carnal urges, and ended up worshipping the demons Moloch and Remphan in exchange for sex with a Shunammite woman. No one has to argue that the Carmelites strayed to the left-hand path, as did the grimoire version of King Solomon. But Honorius III was never exposed in such a scandal, so if he stuck to his divine intentions as reflected in his grimoires, we might rightfully say that his path was the right hand. Therefore, demon conjuration and control, while clearly risky, can technically be either black or white magic. But if you disagree, please let me know why in the comments. It's obviously a complex debate, and the more perspectives we have, the better. All things considered, though, it would be accurate to consider most magic as an instrument or tool, while still acknowledging that some magic implies good or evil by its very nature. So it's important to be both open-minded and cautious. So now, I'm going to take you on a short trip through time and space and explore a diverse range of magical practices from across the entire world. You're encouraged to speculate whether a certain magic is white or black, or neutral and bent by the practitioner. There's a lot of room to get creative, or disturbed. Admittedly, the ancients were pretty weird, and today's notions of good and evil might not always apply.
Oh man, I am like low energy right now, dude. I don't even. Uh-oh, I didn't even chamber around. We gotta go find. Did everything just rotate? We gotta go find bad guys. Oh god, let's go find these bastards. These fucking bastards. Alright. You know what? With the restream stuff too, it's kind of nice because I only have one dock in my OBS. Oh, what if the goons were here? That would be nice. But what if they are here? We getting down with the fucking bolty boys. Dear God, one kill gave me 2.5 points. I literally just gotta get to 4, then I can turn in my my 50k churros. Some daytime woods actually kind of sounds like a good time, to be honest. There's something fucking below me. That doesn't make any sense, dude. I heard that audio cue. Me likey, me likey. I did bring in a bag. Oh, oh, oh. Holy. That is PMC. There's a blood stain on the fence to the right. He's not dead. That's a scav.
Пацаны, окружаем его!
There's no fucking way I killed him.
Прямо берцы! Ах ты, перьебы!
Yo. How the fuck did he get over there? There's something in front of me. This dude's definitely Timothy. Cork Twister. Alright. That had to have been a Sugarborn though. I think it was. Maybe. Come on. That had to have been the AK-50, dude. That scared the fuck out of me, dude. I think that was a shooter born. I can't believe I'm, oh god, yeah. We'll verify. It had to have been a shooter born, though. He, like, rotated all the way the fuck behind me, though. He allowed his teammate to die. It was. I just can't believe I was missing that many shots, man. That was fucking horrible. Tis what to tis, though. I kinda hate using such good armor with bolties. But if I kill someone, it'll be good. I don't even know what sniper I have. We'll see what sniper I go with this time. I don't even know if I have. Actually, no. I think I have other snipers. I'm pretty certain. Eeh. Well, it looks like we're running a DVL. Got nothing against that. We could just run straight up 993 or M61. Yeah, we'll do that. I don't even know if I should bring in a bag. I don't think I will, actually, because I'm not really doing a lot of looting. If we kill someone, we'll just take their bag. Holy fuck! I almost didn't come in with heals. That would have been kind of bad.
Apply. To kick this journey off, perhaps the best place to start would be with one of the original masters of magic, the ancient Egyptians, whose practices went on to influence much of the world. By the turn of the millennium, year 1 AD, The Greeks, Romans, and Jewish people all considered Egypt to be the center of magical knowledge. The Egyptians were so highly esteemed that rumors spread suggesting the Greek philosophers Plato and Pythagoras might have had instruction in occult wisdom from Egyptian priests. Of course, the Egyptians built this expertise over the thousands of years of their civilization's existence. Most evidence for ancient Egyptian magic comes from archaeological findings, such as amulets, monuments, and inscriptions on clay tablets and bowls. Their magic manifested on objects, both ceremonial and everyday items. One such magical object was a curved hippopotamus ivory, inscribed with protective symbols to guard children and pregnant women. The message on the front translates to protection of day and protection of night. While protective spells like these were common, on a related note, medicine and magic were intimately intertwined in Egyptian society. In the absence of effective treatment, they practiced what we now call sympathetic magic, where magical cures were thought to be substances similar or related to the perceived cause of an illness. For example, they tried using heaps of dung to heal gut problems, and they employed yellow-colored potions to cure jaundice, a condition which turns a person's skin and eyes yellow. Other Egyptian medicinal practices took a far more ritualistic form. The most detailed source for this type of magic is the Greek magical papyri, a collection of Egyptian papyri works containing spells, rituals, and hymns compiled during cultural interactions between the Greeks and the Egyptians during the Hellenistic era, and thus they have a bit of a Greek flavor to them. The papyri section on healing covers a vast swath on both common and rare illnesses, each accompanied with their own short ritual to cure it or at least alleviate the suffering. For example, when dealing with migraines, the papyri advises to pour oil in your hands and utter the spell, quote, "Zeus sowed a grapeseed. It parts the soil. He does not sow it. It does not sprout," end quote. And if you have a terrible fever, complete with shivering fits, the papyri advises, again, to pour oil in your hands and say Sabaoth 7 times. Then spread the oil from your sacrum, which is the bone at the base of your spine, all the way down to your feet. So, all this seems innocent enough, and it's hard to argue that healing magic can be anything other than white magic. Well, unless you heal a villainous person with the intent to empower them to carry on their acts of evil, that would probably be black magic. As magic used to heal wounds and illnesses is pretty much found in all cultures and time periods, the same can be said for magic used to inflict harm or injury toward others. So it's not a shock that these same Greek magical papyri also contain such malicious instructions, specifically a complicated process of using a charm to curse illness on an unfortunate victim. While I'll walk you through it for educational purposes, note that certain details are missing due to the papyri's decomposition over the last 2,300 years. But considering what this is intended for, maybe that's for the best. So, to create and activate this charm, you, the assailant, must first use the blood of a weasel to write a specific inscription on a triangular shard of a broken ceramic pot, and then bury the shard in a house. Due to the missing details, it's not clear whether this should be your house or the victim's house, likely an important distinction. After the pot shard is buried, you must then use unsmoked beeswax to form a mannequin and scroll several specific characters on its head. Again, due to the text corruption, we have no idea what these characters were. Next, the text instructs us to inscribe these same characters into a bone of the victim. Why we would casually have a bone of our presumably still alive victim, your guess is as good as mine. We're then supposed to use our left hand to prick the left eye of the mannequin and use our right hand to prick the right eye of the mannequin. We're not yet done with this poor doll, though. We must hold the mannequin upside down and place it head first in a pot, then leave it in the dark. While still in the darkness, the pot is to be filled with water, up to the mannequin's shoulder. Next, it's time for us to leave the dark room and venture outside for some rhododendron flowers, which we're instructed to crush and mix with vinegar, then sprinkle this mixture on the entrance of some unexplained tomb, perhaps the future tomb of the victim. The final step is to take a wreath of flowers and, while pronouncing a specific formula, attach it to the tomb. In the text, this formula is incomplete, but what remains is as follows, quote, "Principal angel of those below the earth, Baruch, and you, angel of many forms, Olamter, in this hour do not disobey me, but send to me, without fear, without harm, doing my every ... end quote. While this is apparently magic intended for only moderate harm, certain parts of the text make me a little concerned that its effects might be a bit more grave. But, assuming that it just gives them a stomach bug or the flu, we have to wonder if this malicious magic is strictly black magic. And what if we took it one step further? A magic that surely kills. Magic that curses of...
I don't know, Steeler. I found this channel a little while back, dude, and it's entertaining, dude. We're gonna become a witch or something, I don't know. But we're probably gonna start watching some cop videos here soon too, man. It's been a minute since I've done any of that. I get all sweaty, dude. In between raids watching fucking cop videos, dude. Oh, you know what? I didn't even see what we're level 4 now. Let's Skill level 4. You know what? We're gonna go fuck with Sturman. Oh, bro, this DVL feels so fucking clean. Like a moth to fucking flame, dude. We're gonna come over to Sturmy's fucking shack. Bro, before they expanded this map, oh my god. I used to just murder people on this map like crazy. I used to be the one that used to get murdered all the time. Oh, we got the target. Come on, guy. We're gonna rotate. That motherfucker's got an AK-50, bro. What the fuck is all this nonsense? Well, that sounds absolutely terrifying. I feel like I might die to this, dude. We're fucking pushing that baby. I do not know where AK-50 boy is though. It's got me terrified. Scared. The fucking boy Wealthy is scared. What if it's the goons, dude? It's possible. There's a possibility of that. Fucking leg keeps itching. I got fucking fleas, boys. I got the fleas. I've been diagnosed with fleas. Oh, I want this. Fuck it. We're sending it. I hope I don't die. It might be the goons, dude. We're gonna get on top of this rock structure in front of me, and then we're gonna kiss their little foreheads. No. That's static. I see fucking bodies everywhere. Come on, what the fuck is going on? Later, guy. Whew, that was fucking close, boys. I had to pull out the fucking Ash 12 in order to get that shit, dude. My aim is not true. PMC. Fuck, 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 fuck. I was trying to get 80 meters away, dude. That's fine.
A victim with death is often referred to as forbidden, and it's no surprise that the most infamous of this forbidden practice have been lost to time. but magic being lost is honestly a far more widespread theme. Although many grimoires serve as repositories to preserve ancient occult knowledge, that hasn't stopped thousands of powerful practices from being made extinct by colonial forces or simply lost out of sheer obscurity, leaving only loose outside references to validate its historical existence. One example is in Old Mexico, where the indigenous community held sacred knowledge of their dark evenings, with each hour of the night ruled by a particular demonic deity. The Spaniards called these grim hourly demons Señores de la Noche, or the Lords of the Night. Contained within the ancient Tonala model, or the Book of Fate, the powers of these evening deities were grim and full of doom. Important rituals and exorcisms were written in its pages, with protective runes to mitigate the anger and harm of these evil spirits. Unfortunately, the Book of Fate is no longer in existence, and its protective magic is now completely lost. But as for the forbidden art specifically, one infamous practice that we know very little about other than its sheer power was the ancient Chinese magic of coup. Similar to the mysteries of the Señores de la Noche, the coup of the Chinese remains in utter obscurity and severe debate. Particularly, some have claimed coup was primarily used as a way of acquiring wealth, and only secondly as a means of enacting deadly revenge. In this way, coup may have been used to summon a malevolent spirit to steal the money and jewelry of the victim, or to curse the victim with some terrible poison, which will kill them, guaranteed. Either way, in the Chinese language, the character for coup has existed for at least 3,000 years, and scholars point out that its features indicate close association with the darker magical arts, what was evil as deemed by the ancient Chinese people. Other versions of coup speculate on the more grotesque side of things. The Shuowen, a 1st century dictionary and actually the oldest Chinese character dictionary, defines coup as worms in the belly, which reflects the old Chinese idea that the human body was a vessel which spirits of disease can enter like insects. Some scholars went further, asserting that coup was not, in fact, the workings of a dark magician, but a deathly disease that resulted from impure actions. Consider this passage from the Zuochuan, an ancient chronicle that documented events in feudal China between 722 and 468 BC. Quote, "The physician informed the Marquis of Qin, the disease cannot be cured. It is said that when women are approached too frequently, the result is a disease resembling coup. It is not caused by a spirit, nor by food. It is a delusion which has destroyed the mind. I mean, that disease which is produced by excessive sexual indulgence." End quote. So, coup may or may not have been a form of magic used to inflict death. Coup may have been an evil spirit, or it could have just been a terrible disease. Or, like many Chinese words, it might very well mean all these things, and more. But that doesn't well satisfy our investigation of forbidden deadly magic. You might not think it, but ancient India might be the place we're looking for in our quest to uncover the darker side of the magical realm. Accounts from India's British colonial period revealed to the Western world for the first time the many dark Hindu entities believed to exist, such as the Rakshasa, man-eating demons, and the Bhuta, the Indian version of ghosts. They even had their own version of vampires, called the Vetala, who possessed and reanimated corpses of the dead and fed off the living. The mythology and folklore of these dark creatures have survived for the most part, and some areas of present-day India even have large active cults that worship these beings and derive magical powers from them, such as the Vetala cult in the Konkan region. Other magical knowledge has been lost, though, such as that of the Odi, the forbidden occult art of the Odion clan. Knowledge of these people and their practices have only vaguely endured in the local Kerala folklore, and much like the Chinese code, it's hard to define what Odi really was. Thankfully, the legends of the Odion people are a bit more consistent. At the time when the caste system was prevalent in Indian society, families in the Kerala region faced many disputes and divisions that would quickly take a turn for the worse, and murder was an all-too-common solution. Families from higher castes, however, refused to do the dirty work, and thus it's said that they hired the Odions to do it for them, as the Odion clan originated from lower caste families. From these myths, it's clear that the Odion are remembered as hired killers, or professional assassins, and their weapon of choice was forbidden magic. Their practice was called Odi, and it was said to leave terror in the hearts of those who witness it from afar and were lucky enough to survive. Other legends suggest that the Odions were capable of illusionary powers, derived from a special magical oil they would apply to their earlobes. The source of this oil was supposedly extracted from amniotic fluid, which is something I'll avoid elaborating on due to the powers that be on this platform. Once the Odion assassin located their victim, they were said to remain hidden and cast certain magical spells to brutally incapacitate the target, such as breaking their spine in two. The Odion would then transform into an animal, usually a bull, a calf, a black dog, or a black cat, and emerge from the shadows. It said that there were two ways to tell if this creature was an Odion. The first would be a rotten, foul smell emanating from the oil on their earlobes. The second was a clear deformity in their animal form, such as having only 3 legs or an extra eye. It's believed these abnormalities were intentional to confuse the victim so they become mentally paralyzed as well, staring at the oddity. And with these combined uses of magic, there would be no escaping the Odion's inevitable kill. If these legends are in any way accurate, the Odion clan were surely of the left-hand path. a concept which we know actually derived from ancient India. Most people in India consider Odi to be the most evil form of black magic. However, we might argue that this magic could have been used for many different purposes. It just happened to be used to kill. The last magical theme we'll explore today is another universal to all civilizations in recorded history, and even remains an enormous industry in the developed countries of modern day. And those are charms, talismans, potions, and spells, chiefly used for personal purposes. These ranged from counters against sexual impotence to runic farting curses, showing that magic was not only used for religious and mystical purposes, but was widely employed in the everyday life of the average person. So this brings up the question. If use of magic is supposedly divided into two paths, with each path defining a certain magic as white or black, can there ever be a form of neutral magic? For example, the 18th century miniature grimoire, Le Petit Albert, offers a humble spell to ward off foxes. Quote, say 3 times a week, in the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Foxes and vixens, I conjure you, in the name of the Virgin and Saint, as Our Lady was pregnant, that you will neither take nor scatter any of my birds, my flocks, that is to say cocks, hens, or chickens, nor eat their nests, nor suck their blood, nor break their eggs, nor do any harm to them. End quote. These simple magical practices were also commonly used for self-care, such as improving one's sexual health. Likewise, the same grimoire, Le Petit Albert, also contains a ritual to counter impotency. This one, however, is in a bit of a less gray area than the previous. It begins by instructing the practitioner to use their own blood to write the following spell on 2 pieces of parchment, which I'm translating from Latin. Quote, wicked frog, the form is finished. I believe in you, Satan. End quote. The practitioner must then swallow one of the parchment pieces and carry the other around their neck. While this and other Satan-invoking spells inspired the Catholic Church to label Le Petit Albert as black magic, it's hard to understate how popular this particular grimoire was. It was a massive publishing success, and nearly every peddler on the streets of France sold it. By the 19th and early 20th centuries, it had become so popular that even churchgoers would bring the book with them in an attempt to bless it, and priests instated a routine pat-down in search of all attendees before a service would take place. It really was a book of the people, because its magic was practical. While Le Petit Albert offered pretty standard Christianized magic, if not a bit risque, in the fringes of European society, accounts of Icelandic magic in the 17th century also reflected many practical applications. And thanks to a complicated history of inter-European cultural exchanges, the Icelandic magic surviving into modern day reflects a unique mix of Nordic runic tradition, pagan deities, and Solomonic ritual. Take, for example, the Galdra an Icelandic grimoire passed through several of the country's generations, despite their dark history of witch trials that victimized hundreds of everyday practitioners. One particularly odd spell contained in the Galdra was a runic revenge farting spell, which is what it sounds like. If somebody did you wrong and petty payback is what you seek, the Galdra instructs the practitioner to inscribe a series of runes from the ancient Norse alphabet in blood on a strip of leather produced from a white calf. After the runes are written, an invocation of holy...
Oh, fucking lordy, dude. Alright, we're gonna use smaller armor. Because my thought process on it is, if we kill a bad guy, we just take his armor. And it's not a bad thought process. Because I think we can kill some bad guys. I'm not going to be consistently running a secondary gun. We'll just end up just going straight sniper. Although, fortunately, that Ash 12 kind of helped out, though, with the close quarters nonsense that Timmy, like, rolled up on me. That's our 612. I get some yummy in my tummy here in a little bit.
And unholy Christian entities and Nordic mythological figures must be said, after which the victim will be cursed with unstoppable flatulence. The full invocation is as follows, quote, I write you 8 ass runes, 9 nod runes, 13 thirst runes, that they will plague thy belly with bad shit and gas, and all of these will plague thy belly with great farting. May it loosen thee from thy place and burst thy guts. May thy farting never stop, neither day or night.
Sounds horrible.
Thou wilt be as weak as the fiend Loki, who is bound by all the gods. In thy mightiest name, Lord God, Spirit, Creator, Odin, Thor, Savior, Freyr, Freya, Oper, Satan, Beelzebub, Helper, Mighty God, end quote. We have to appreciate the fact that whoever came up with the spell figured that God would team it up with Thor, Odin, and Satan. Now that's a Marvel movie worth making, but anyway, moving outside of Europe, the final practical magical art we'll explore is that of voodoo, which remains surprisingly popular despite being so heavily misunderstood. With its followers mostly in the southern United States and the Caribbean, voodoo is actually an entire religion whose beliefs largely revolve around ancestor worship and spirit possession. It differs strongly from its more folk magic counterpart, hoodoo, which mostly originated from the Congo, whereas voodoo traces its roots back to the Fawn religion of West Africa. After suffering several appalling centuries of French colonialism and the ban of practicing their local religion in the Caribbean colonies, what resulted was an intermingling of spirit worship and Catholic practices. Although voodooists believe in an overarching god known as Bondia, he's worshipped through a pantheon of thousands of spirits known as Loa, who individually serve as aspects of humanity and the world. Voodoo channels its magical powers through these Loa spirits, and no voodoo ritual starts without drawing an important symbol known as the veve on the ground, using scattered cornstarch. These ceremonial events require the entire community to actively participate, and their goal is to create a positive link between the living and the dead, a welcoming bridge between the material and spiritual worlds. This is done by having a priest known as an uyon, or a priestess known as a mambo, preside over the ceremony until one of the worshippers has been possessed by a loa. But as for their more day-to-day magic, voodooists are known worldwide for their distinct tradition of using various dolls for magical, practical purposes. For example, this voodoo doll is a female figure with an animal's head, and it symbolizes the celebration of a bountiful and fertile world, and blesses future harvests for agricultural success. More infamously, though, certain dolls are used to inflict harm.
We want some more corn for this harvest. Let me poke this voodoo doll. Alright. Well, we have the spawn over here. Probably go get that. You know what? 80 plus meter shots. I don't even know why I'm coming here. Well, we might as well get my last shooter born here, but I should be going to shoreline though. Holy fucking stutter, man. Where the fuck are the jabronis at, dude? We need some kills. The ping is kind of high right now, too, for some reason. Oh, God. You know what? We're probably just gonna make our way to Sturman's camp. I bet we can find some bad guys over there. Better run, pussy. It's not too far ahead. It's a pistol, bro. He might be over here by this barn. Fuck. I'm in hot pursuit. Oh, you know what? Being my health is skill is at 100 or 50 or whatever? Oh god, we're pushing that. It fixed my wound, my heavy bleed. I don't know where the fuck that Timmy went. Fuck, bro, I don't know where the fuck those shots are coming from. Oh, that ain't good.
Забыл, что ты батон в будку забил.
Well, this puts me in a bit of a pickle. This bleed should stop, I think. It did stop. No! Oh, fuck. Alright, we're gonna kill the stream there. I need to go eat. Feeling twitchy. No shocker there. Interesting. That is a Timmy. Well, I killed... Oh, one guard. He killed me. That must be 98. We might have a stream up here in a little bit, but